Welcome to Gridiron Ring, a sports talk show covering football and professional wrestling. I'm your host, the Encyclopedia Sports Cohen Luke 96. NFL 100 kicked off last Thursday night in Chicago at Soldier Field with the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears. Packers won by a score of 10-3, as it seemed like both teams went back to 1919 to play this game instead of 2019 in the NFL's 100th season this year, as neither team could run the ball whatsoever. Teams combined for 9 sacks. Packers won 10-3. Aaron Rodgers and company get the win over Mitch Trubisky. Titans defeated the Browns 43-14. Cleveland was actually still in this game at the beginning of the fourth quarter. It was 22-13, but then Baker Mayfield threw 3 interceptions. Tennessee capitalized, won by 30 on the road to start 2019. Baltimore went down to South Beach, absolutely blew out the Miami Dolphins 59-10. Sorry, Dolphins fans, it's going to be a very, very long season. Minnesota, they defeated the Atlanta Falcons 28-12 at home on Sunday. Eagles came back from down 17-0 at home over the Washington Redskins and came back and won 32-27. LA Rams over the Carolina Panthers on the road in Charlotte 30-27. The Rams will now host the New Orleans Saints in a NFC Championship game rematch this Sunday at 4:25 on Fox. I will be doing live reactions, play-by-play this upcoming weekend, as well of college football, the NFL, and WWE, so be sure to tune in. Like, follow, and subscribe to Gridiron Ring and myself, Cohan Luke 96, on social media. If you haven't done so already, the links are actually in the description below. Chargers, they were up a lot on the Colts at home. However, Indianapolis came back, sent the game to overtime, but then Austin Eckler, game-winning touchdown in OT for the LA Chargers as they defeated the Andrew Luckless Colts 30-24. Seahawks over the Cincinnati Bengals 21-20 in a closer game than what I thought, but Seattle still picked up the win 21-20. So that's really all that matters. Seattle now comes to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers this weekend. I'll get to Pittsburgh here in a second. 49ers over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-17 after 2 pick-six touchdowns by the 49er defense on Jameis Winston. Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo also threw a pick-six, but the 2 touchdowns, the 14-point difference, was the main factor as the 49ers won 31-17. So Jameis Winston doesn't throw those 2 pick-sixes. We're tied at 17 more than likely, and then headed to overtime. Cowboys over the Giants 35-17. Dak Prescott, 400 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. Still don't think he's worth $30+ million a year, though. Patriots defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 33-3 on Sunday Night Football. Pittsburgh absolutely could not get anything going whatsoever. They couldn't run the ball with James Conner, Jalen Samuels. Steelers could not get after Tom Brady on defense, and then he picked them apart in the secondary, threw for 340 yards and 3 touchdowns. Plus, Antonio Brown signed with the Patriots the day before after getting cut after he asked for his release from the Oakland Raiders and was granted it. New England signed him around 5 o'clock Saturday night. Hell, they don't even need him. They looked great on Sunday, defeated the Steelers 33-3. Like I said, Pittsburgh could not get anything going whatsoever, and then Brady just picked them apart. I fear for the Miami Dolphins this Sunday. They host the Patriots. Miami got blown out by Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens 59-10. Just imagine what the New England Patriots are going to do to the Finns this weekend. I'll get to Antonio Brown here real quick once again coming up very shortly. Saints and Texans, first of the doubleheader on Monday Night Football to end Week 1. The Saints and Texans 30-28 in New Orleans over Houston on a game-winning 58-yard Will Lutz field goal. And then the Raiders and Broncos in prime time in the nightcap of the doubleheader on Monday Night Football Week 1. Raiders over the Broncos 24-16 without Antonio Brown. As I said, AB has now signed on to play with the New England Patriots, but there is a report out there he is being accused of rape, so we will see where that goes. He should play this weekend unless he gets put on the NFL's commissioner exempt list, which who knows if that'll happen or not. New England with Josh Gordon, they know how that all works. He was actually just removed from that, played this past week, had a touchdown against Pittsburgh. They get Josh Gordon back. Maybe Antonio Brown will be headed to that. Maybe he'll get suspended. I honestly don't know. Report just came out. Antonio Brown being accused of rape by a former female trainer that he went to college with at Central Michigan. So, like I said, we'll see where that goes. But Antonio Brown, no longer on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They traded him to the Oakland Raiders back in March. Then the whole saga with the helmet, him getting frostbite on his feet, him not showing up to training camp, getting fined by the Raiders, calling Mike Mayock a cracker, the team trying to void his $30 million in guarantees, him apologizing to the team, then they void the $30 million. He asked for his release, they grant it, he then signs with the New England Patriots. Here we are, next thing in the Antonio Brown saga, him being accused of rape. We'll see what happens, but that's what happened week 1 in the NFL as the NFL kicked off 2019, and I'll have my week 2 predictions coming up next, so stay tuned. NFL week 2 will kick off on Thursday Night Football on the NFL Network with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Carolina Panthers, both teams coming off a week 1 loss. Tampa Bay lost to San Francisco, and the Panthers lost to the Rams. So 2 NFC West, NFC South matchups. Now a division showdown in Charlotte with Tampa Bay and Carolina. And I'm going to pick the Panthers to win this. Cam Newton, Jameis Winston once again, as Tampa Bay will play the Carolina Panthers. But Christian McCaffrey is going to be the difference maker come Sunday. Had a hell of a game this past weekend, except the Panthers just didn't play good enough against the defending NFC champion LA Rams and lost by 3, 30-27, as I mentioned earlier. But this weekend, I think they'll win to kick off week 2 on Thursday night. Give me the Carolina Panthers over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Seahawks Steelers 1 o'clock on Sunday on Fox. I'll be live on Periscope doing live reactions play-by-play, so be sure to tune in. Also, I'll have to check out and see what game is going to be on CBS at 1 o'clock in my area. It's probably going to either be the Patriots-Dolphins, maybe the Bengal game with the 49ers Bengals. I'll go over that here next. But then other than that, I mean, there's not really a whole lot of good 1 o'clock games with teams in the Northeast Mid-Atlantic region where I'm at for that game to potentially be on CBS at 1 o'clock. But Seahawks Steelers, 1 o'clock on Fox. Live reactions play on Periscope. Be sure to tune in. I'll have to check and see what games 1 o'clock on CBS, because I'll watch that as well and do some live reactions play-by-play of that game too, since I now have a 2 TV setup, if you did not know. Steelers Seahawks though from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Rematch of Super Bowl 40. Hard to believe that's been 14 years ago now. Pittsburgh and Seattle. Last time these two teams met was in Seattle a couple years back, and the Seahawks ended up picking up a late game victory. But however, this week, this time around, Seattle, they defeated the Bengals out of the AFC North last week, 21-20 at home, but now they got to come east. Okay, Pittsburgh just got their ass kicked by the Patriots, 33-3. Expected, but not that big of a loss. They shouldn't have lost by 30, but like I said, they just couldn't get anything going, and then they lose. So a loss is still a loss. I totally understand it. I get it. But Pittsburgh, momentum, I believe, from obviously losing both Bell and Brown. A lot of people are saying, how the hell are they going to play without them? Well, who the hell cares? They're not on the team anymore. You move on. You play with the players you have. Yeah, Dante Moncrief dropped a lot of passes on Sunday night as the number 2, number 3 receiver. James Washington also a couple drops. They got to be able to run the football better than what they did this past weekend. As I said, Connor and Samuels, nothing. Hell, Benny Snell Jr., the rookie out of Kentucky, didn't even play. So maybe get him in the game early, get him some carries, maybe on third down, maybe a couple screens out of the backfield, something along those lines. That'll open up the passing game for Roethlisberger to be able to throw downfield, because this past weekend, like I said, they couldn't run the ball whatsoever. So Roethlisberger was throwing all the time. The Patriots knew it was coming on every single play at that point, and hence the drops from all the wide receivers. How they didn't even go to Vance McDonald until late in the fourth quarter. And whether or not he's a true number one tight end beats me, I don't know. I mean, obviously, yeah, losing Jesse James hurt, but somebody's got to step up on offense. I don't care if it's a running back, tight end, wide receiver. Hell, late in the game, Pouncey went out. B.J. Finney came in at center. They couldn't even get the snap right. Everybody moved on the offense except for him. Finney didn't even snap the ball. So something's got to give come Sunday. But I think with Pittsburgh playing at home, Seattle, 10 a.m. local kick for them. It's a 1 p.m. Eastern kick at Heinz Field Sunday on Fox. So normally West Coast teams that are coming east and they play at 1 o'clock, they'll lose 9 times out of 10. I mean, that didn't go for Rams-Panthers. They played at 1 on Sunday, and the Rams won. So could come down to the wire. I remember week 2 last year, Pittsburgh hosted the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes just went off after his big week 1 win on the road against the Chargers last year. That's when we really found out how good Patrick Mahomes is to this day. Chiefs' big win over the Jaguars last year. Nick Foles now done for probably about half the year. They traded for Josh Dobbs from Pittsburgh to come in and battle at quarterback with Gardner Minshew. Chiefs actually play at Oakland on Sunday afternoon as well. But week 2 with Pittsburgh, Kansas City last year, game I did on Periscope too, by the way, it was a barn burner. Back and forth. Neither team could play defense. All these points and yards being put up. Could we see the same come Sunday? Maybe. I think it's going to come down to the wire either way. But I think it might be a defensive showdown, though, too, to be honest with you. Seattle only put up 21 at home against Cincinnati. They let Andy Dalton throw for a record 420 yards passing. Roethlisberger 10 times better than the Red Rifle, so maybe Roethlisberger's going to throw for 500 plus. I don't know. Wilson, the thing with him at quarterback with Seattle, he's a dual threat, can run and pass. Decent running game by committee with the Seahawks. Pete Carroll, Mike Tomlin, Super Bowl 40 rematch, as mentioned earlier. So something's got to give for both teams, more so the Steelers, though, than the Seahawks. So we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, this is the first home game for the Steelers now without both Bell and Brown. But like I said, who the hell cares if they're not on the team anymore? Bell's obviously with the Jets. They lost to the Bills 17-16 this past week. Brown went to Oakland. Now he's up in New England with the Patriots. It's like, move on. Just totally forget about it. Just drop it, move on. They're not on the team, next man up. And all Pittsburgh can do about last week is you totally forget about that game and you move on. You play Seattle on Sunday. Take one out of Belichick's playbook. We're on to Seattle. And the Seahawks will play the Steelers at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And I'll be live over on Periscope doing live reactions, play-by-play of this game. So be sure to tune in. But I'm going to take the Steelers, being a Steeler fan. It's just how I pick my games. Obviously, you can say bias all you want. I really don't care. Penn State and the Steelers, every single game, all season long, every year basically, I'm taking them unless I absolutely believe that they're going to lose. That's picks for myself. If I lose it, I lose it. That's fine. Obviously, if the Seahawks or whoever, Penn State or the Steelers are playing, plays better, then obviously I'm going to come out and say they deserve to win. Or they didn't deserve to win. One of the two. Whatever the situation is. So, Panthers over the Buccaneers, Steelers over the Seahawks. I know I went on and on about that, so I'll try to hurry up here with 49ers, Bengals, Vikings, Packers, and Colts and Titans. Hell, some of these games, I don't even have winners picked yet. I'm just, whatever's on the top of my head right now. That's what I did last week for my college football week 2. Probably do the same thing with my week 3 predictions this weekend as well. Be sure to go check out that video. Plus my WWE Clash of Champions predictions right here on Gridiron Ring's YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. So we'll see who I pick for some of these games that I don't even have winners selected yet. But up next, 49ers Bengals. I'm taking San Fran over Cincy. Battle of number 10 quarterbacks with Jimmy G and Andy D. I mean, Cincinnati, they didn't look bad on the road against the Seattle Seahawks, but San Francisco, their defense last week bailed them out on the road in Tampa Bay. I think they could very well do the same once again this weekend. San Francisco picks up the win on the road against Cincinnati Bengals. Kyle Shanahan and Zach Taylor, two great young coaches in the National Football League with some great minds, could see a very, very high-scoring game Sunday afternoon. Vikings and Packers now in the NFC North. Both teams 1-0. Packers, because they're playing at home, though, at Lambeau. Green Bay will win this game late, maybe on a Mason Crosby game-winning field goal. Minnesota ran the ball very, very well, though, last week with Dalvin Cook. That could be their edge come Sunday, as Green Bay, along with Chicago in that kickoff game last Thursday night, couldn't run the ball whatsoever. So, obviously, we'll see what happens come Sunday, but Packers at home, Rodgers over Cousins, Packers win. Colts Titans from Nashville at LP Field, Nissan Stadium. One of the games I haven't even picked yet. Colts lost last week on the road to the Chargers. Titans big win on the road against Cleveland. They won by 30. Jacoby Brissett, Marcus Mariota. This was supposed to be Andrew Luck, Marcus Mariota. Luck obviously retired 2 weeks before the season started. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to take the Colts on the road to defeat the Titans. We'll see what type of Titan team we're going to get on Sunday, obviously. Could they be for real this year? Going on the road week 1, winning by 30. Could that be an overreaction, though, at the same time? Colts come back, send the game to overtime against the Chargers, lose on an 8-yard touchdown run. This game's going to come down to the wire as well. I think we're in for a great week 2 in the NFL regardless with all these games. I think there's going to be a lot of close games, a lot of close finishes. But I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to take the Colts over the Titans. I'm going to mark that down and take the Colts over the Titans. Patriots Dolphins. Patriots in a blowout. Cowboys Redskins, as America's team comes to America's capital of Washington, D.C., actually Landover, Maryland, RFK Stadium. Cowboys are going to win this. Washington might do something in the first half like they did this past week on the road in Philly against the Eagles, but then the Eagles came back from down 17-0 to win that ball game. Dallas, big win at home against the Giants last weekend. They got on top early and just put their foot on the gas pedal and drove away to victory. Cowboys, Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott. I don't think Dak's going to have as good of a game this week as he did last week, but with Zeke and Dak, Jason went back, had a touchdown this past weekend. Good to see that once again after he came out of retirement after taking last year off and working for ESPN doing Monday Night Football. Thank God we didn't have to listen to him this past weekend, but good to see him back out on the field. But their offense as a whole, it all starts up front. Dallas has been able to block tremendously well for the past 5, 6, 7 years, and that's why going back to when they had DeMarco Murray, he was the leading rusher in the NFL that year. He leaves, goes to Philly, goes to played for the Titans for a year or so, and then retired about last year, the year before, working as a college football broadcaster now, I do believe, for Fox. But anyways, they get Zeke. He's been able to run the ball effectively ever since. It all starts up front. They run the ball. Dak's played well. Obviously, 400 yards and 4 touchdowns this past week has to speak for something. I still don't believe he's worth $30+ million a year, though, but a deal will probably get done eventually. They just extended Zeke to get him back on site to play this year after he sat out basically all off season. But their defense, on top of all that, they're going to stop Case Keenum and maybe Dwayne Haskins if we see him. We didn't get to see him last weekend on the road this week against the Skins. So give me the boys over the Skins on Sunday in the NFC East. Cardinals Ravens, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. Should be a very, very fun game to watch with those two both at quarterback. 2 first-round picks the past 2 years. 2 former Heisman Trophy winners as well from Louisville and Oklahoma. with Jackson and Murray respectively. Last weekend, Cardinals went to overtime with the Lions. Game actually ended in a tie. Baltimore blowout win on the road against the Dolphins. Now they come back home to M&T Bank in Baltimore. They'll beat the Cardinals. I don't know if it's going to be as big of a blowout compared to last week, but Baltimore's still going to win on Sunday afternoon. Chiefs-Raiders, low-key game for myself. Raiders, they looked damn good on Monday Night Football. However, they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. And Kansas City's a little bit better than the silver and black right now. Gruden's defense with Paul Gunther, they might surprise Patrick Mahomes, with some unexpected blitzes, get after the young quarterback. Gruden knows what the hell he's doing, folks. Okay, just everything with the Antonio Brown thing over the summer, it blew up, and the Raiders are just now moving on. Okay, big win against Denver in the AFC West on Monday night this past week. Now they host another AFC West rival, the Kansas City Chiefs. I would really like to pick the Raiders, but Kansas City is just so damn good. There's just no way around not picking the Chiefs. You just can't pick against the Chiefs right now with the reigning NFL MVP. Chiefs over the Raiders on Sunday. Keep an eye out for that game, though. That might turn some heads, to be honest with you. Bears-Broncos, the Vic Fangio Bowl. Fangio now the Bronco head coach after being the Bear defensive coordinator the past couple years. Bears will bounce back, though. I think the Broncos are still going to surprise a lot of people this year, along with the Raiders. I mean, I knew going into the season with Brown, the Raiders would probably surprise because they should have won more games last year than what they did, finishing at 4-12. Now Brown not even there, next man up mentality. Broncos still could surprise, like I said there, but Bears will bounce back. Their offense, they'll fix what they didn't do last week in the kickoff game against the Packers, only putting up 3 points. It's like the Bears offense didn't even exist last weekend. So Bears on the road, tough environment from Mile High in Denver, but Chicago. This is also the Kyle Orton Bowl, now that I think about it. Chicago will defeat the Denver Broncos. Orton played at Purdue, played for the Bears and the Broncos. Jay Cutler Bowl as well, now that I think about that as well, too. So, yeah, going back in history, just thinking off the top of my head here tonight, folks, recording my NFL Week 2 predictions. So, thank you for listening. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Gridiron Ring and myself, Luke96, on social media. Saints-Rams. Now, this is the game everybody's going to be talking about come Sunday and even after Sunday. NFC Championship game rematch from this past year. A game from New Orleans, now in Los Angeles this weekend at the Coliseum. USC on the road at BYU on Saturday afternoon, so the field not going to be torn up at all. Should be in pristine playing shape with the Saints and the Rams with Drew Brees and Jared Goff, who actually just got extended by the LA Rams as well to make him the highest paid NFL quarterback of all time. Don't know how I really think about that, because other than taking the Rams to Super Bowl this past year, Jared Goff really hasn't done anything else. Yeah, okay, he was the number one pick. His rookie year, they sucked. He sucked. But then Sean McVay comes in. They've turned that franchise around. But then you got Drew Brees on the other sideline, who, with 37 seconds remaining this past Monday night at home against the Texans, led New Orleans downfield to the 40-yard line, called a timeout with 2 seconds left to set up a game-winning field goal by Will Lutz from 58 yards out. And this is all after Houston had just scored on a 2-play, 75-yard drive. So we could be in for another damn good Saint game this weekend. Obviously, the Saints are out to get revenge because they got screwed in the NFC Championship game last year by the Zebras. So if it comes down to that once again, obviously they're out, clearly out to get them at that point. New Orleans going to win. They'll get revenge. The NFL will make sure the Rams don't win on Sunday, even if it does come down to the wire now. Obviously, if the Rams are blowing them out in the middle of the fourth quarter, there's nothing you can do at that point. The Rams at that point clearly would have defeated the New Orleans Saints and company. So both high-powered offenses, we've seen what these two teams can do, how they played 2 times last year. And I did live reactions both times. Damn good games both times, as they took place down in New Orleans both times. But this game, this time around, out in LA, but New Orleans with the road win. Sunday Night Football, Eagles and Falcons. This game actually last year kicked off the season after the Eagles won Super Bowl 52 over the New England Patriots. That postseason, the Eagles hosted the Falcons as well, won that game, obviously, to get to the Super Bowl to beat the Patriots then. And then they kicked off the year in 2018. First ever game I did live reactions play of in football, college or the NFL. Eagles won a close game late. Now, a year later, week 2 in 2019 for NFL 100, they go to Hotlanta, Georgia to play the Matt Ryan-led Atlanta Falcons, who lost last week on the road to the Minnesota Vikings. The way Philadelphia and Atlanta played last week, I know that was last week, this is this week now, I'm going to take the Eagles. This is another game I did not have a winner selected up until just now, but I'm going to take the Eagles over the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. Sunday night, 7 o'clock, WWE Clash of Champions. Live reactions play of that over on Periscope. Be sure to tune in. Come 8 o'clock, Eagles-Falcons will be on Sunday Night Football on NBC. So I'll have that game on as well. Live reactions play of that too, so be sure to tune in. Monday Night Football, though, now next week, Browns-Jets from East Rutherford, New Jersey, MetLife Stadium. Battle of 2 top 3 picks last year in the draft. 2 quarterbacks, the other being the number 2 overall pick, the Rookie of the Year last year, Saquon Barkley, the running back out of Penn State for the New York Football Giants. Big Blue loss over the Cowboys last week, 35-17. But you have Baker Mayfield, who went number 1 to Cleveland, and then Sam Darnold, who went number 3 to the Jets. Cleveland, New York, Monday Night Football next week. Debating about live reactions of this. I might do it, I might not. I don't know. We'll find out and see. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. That's the way you will be able to find out, obviously, at that point, unless I announce something over the weekend. But Monday Night Football should be a damn good game. This is another game I don't have anybody picked right now. I'm just trying to think over my head right now. The way with Cleveland, the way they played last week against Tennessee at home, how can they go on the road now and defeat the Jets, who lost at home by one of the Bills? Like, is it going to be a shit show, or are we going to see points put up? I would hope the latter, but Cleveland, they'll bounce back. The way Baker was talking about everybody putting them in the trash and moving on, this is the Browns of old. The Browns will surprise. I think they'll still make the playoffs this year, to be honest with you. The thing is, folks, it's one game. It's week 1. A lot of overreactions, as usual. You just totally forget about it. You move on and just keep playing football. It's a very, very long season. So we'll see what happens come Monday night and all weekend long, starting on Thursday night with Tampa Bay and Carolina. All the games on Sunday. Eagles, Falcons, Sunday Night Football, and then Monday Night Football, Browns and Jets. But I mean, hell, the Jets, they just got Demaryius Thomas, too, from the Patriots in a trade. Might be a deep threat for Darnold now, so could beat Cleveland's secondary. I'm still going to take the Browns come Monday night. And that's going to wrap up my Week 2 predictions in the NFL. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, like, follow, and subscribe. Gridiron Ring and myself, Cool Hand Luke 96 on social media. And I hope to see everybody now this weekend over on Periscope for more live reactions, play-by-play of college football, the NFL, and WWE. And keep an eye out as well for WWE Clash of Champions predictions. Go check out my college football Week 3 predictions as well. Thanks for listening.